Okay. Hi, everybody. This next question is about tripwires. So my tripwire matches my freebies, but I still don't get sales. What would you recommend to figure out what is wrong with my tripwire? Okay, so first step, if you have a tripwire that is not converting, so back up just in case we have anybody who's not familiar with this just yet. A tripwire is when somebody opts into your email list, and instead of sending them to a page that says, thank you for signing up, you will immediately send them to a one-time offer, easy yes offer, or a tripwire page where you're giving them, you've seen it, we've all seen it before. If you've ever opted in for somebody's email list, you have seen this page before. And it's basically like, you can get $97 worth of stuff for $7 if you sign up right now for it. And it has a high conversion rate. People are already in the mindset of saying yes to it. And it really does help you to bring in money without feeling like you have to constantly sell inside of your emails. So that's a tripwire. And so if you have a tripwire that is not converting, first, I would look at the tripwire itself. When we're talking about like your freebie, hang on, where is it? Here we go. Okay. Whoop. So here's your person. We want our person to ascend our product ladder, right? We want them to go up here. But the problem is when they're starting over here, hang on, we got to do. So when we're talking about a free, there we go. Once we're talking about a free product, what we want is our freebie is helping them get an easy yes, an easy win, something where they can see that their work is paying off immediately. Your freebie should be smaller, and then your tripwire should be the next step. So the problem that I see a lot of times when people are saying like they're not seeing conversions from their tripwire, the problem is that they're going straight from a freebie about, let's say, free Pinterest pins or something. So we're talking about like if you have free Pinterest pins as your freebie, and then you're offering more pins as your tripwire, you likely won't see a lot of people converting on that. Not because your pins aren't awesome, but because there's confusion there. And confused people don't buy. Confused people don't buy. So when people are confused, they're like, I thought I was already getting free pins, so I don't need to buy them. So I'm going to pass. And the problem was, instead of going up, instead of saying, okay, here's steps 0 through 1 or 0 through 5, and then your tripwire is steps 5 through 10, right? Of like a process. Because again, everything's an ascension is a ladder. So instead of saying like, instead of saying, okay, you're taking this next step up, you're really only going up a little bit. Or maybe they're right on the same line, meaning like they're offering the same thing. You're not taking them to the next step. They're two in line with each other. So your tripwire needs to be something different than your freebie is. So let's go back to the meal planning example. If you have a meal plan page or like a 5-day meal plan as your freebie, and then your tripwire is a week-long meal plan, whatever it is, instant pot meal plan, that's too similar. So what you might want to do instead for your freebie, do a blank grocery shopping list or a pantry inventory. Like, so that could be your freebie, because then when you say, okay, my tripwire is a week-long meal plan, they'll be like, oh, great, because they have a pantry inventory, but they don't have a meal plan. And so that's going to be the logical next step up. You don't want people to go laterally. You don't want people to go laterally. You want them to ascend. You want them to go to that next level. You want to help them along this journey. So we have our little person here, and she wants to get here, and we have to give her the steps to go. And so that's what we're doing when we sell people things, is we're helping facilitate them ascend this ladder to go somewhere. And if we're giving them a tripwire that is the same thing as our freebie, we're confusing them. It might be something that is different, but if it sounds too similar, then they won't buy it. they'll be confused and say, didn't I just sign up for that? Like, I thought that they said that it was free. And now we're having problems where people are like, but you said it was free. So wait, what is it? Paid or free? And that was a problem that I've had in the past. Like, true story, people emailed me and they're like, you said that this was free. And I'm like, it is. What are you talking about? And then they sent me a screenshot of the Tripwire page. I'm like, oh, now I see. So the number one place that you can start if your Tripwire is not converting is to see if your freebie is too similar to your Tripwire. If it is, change up the freebie to make it a little bit different, or change up the Tripwire to make it a little bit different, just so that there is a difference in the two. We don't want something that is too similar. You want something that is that next step. So it does require a little bit more brainstorming power than just literally saying like, well, I have this and I have this, so I'll just put it together. Because while I love repurposing, you guys know this, I love repurposing. I love taking pages inside of Tripwires and making them into the freebies so that it makes sense for the Tripwire to be connected. But if they're too similar, you are going to see a problem. So that's just like the number one thing to keep in mind when we're talking about Tripwires that aren't converting. The other thing that you have that you can keep in mind when it comes to Tripwires is the page itself. A lot of times, if you are not giving them a Tripwire page that has a countdown timer, that has a sense of urgency, or that just looks different than your opt-in page, then it's going to create, again, confusion. People will be like, wasn't I just on this page? If it looks too similar, just like optically, if it looks too similar, or if it just says like, thank you so much for your purchase, and it takes up the whole page, because remember, most people are coming from their phones or using their phones for accessing everything on the internet right now. So if it takes up the whole page where it just says, thank you so much, your freebie will be in your inbox any second now, and that's what they see on their phone, they'll be like, okay, and click out of it and miss the entire part where you're actually selling. So you want to make sure that your page for your Tripwire is actually clear that you're selling something to them. You want them to be able to see that there is something to buy, that this is different than your than your freebie page. You have to set them apart, whether that's with the colors that you use, make your wording at the top smaller. You can say at the top of your page, give a, what is it called? A progress bar. I know with lead pages, you can make your own, or you can set up a progress bar at the top of the page. You can do that. You can make your own like image of a progress bar from Canva or PicMonkey, whatever you want to do to show that there's another step if they want it. Like, so thank you for signing up. This is the phrasing that I have on my page. Thank you for signing up. Your freebie, whatever it's called, will be in your inbox any second now. While you're here, I want to offer you a 75% off discount code for blankety blank. And that's your Tripwire. So that would be my next step, is to make sure that your page, your Tripwire page, stands out and looks different than your freebie page itself. And then if that doesn't work, the next thing that I would do would be to work on the title of the page or the Tripwire itself. If your page is converting, or it should be converting, and it looks good and it stands out and it adds a sense of urgency and it describes the product really well, sometimes our Tripwire or our product names in general are too on the nose. And we're like, it makes sense. It's like, yeah, but sometimes we need to sexify things. Naming things is actually really, really important. It's really crucial. And it sounds so like blasé and like, ugh, to say that, but it's so true. Naming things is really important. When it comes to like, I know that I've had Tripwires where I'm like, this is so terrible. It's not even like that it's so terrible, but it's just like, this is so boring. And I'm in the personal finance niche. I need to make everything that I can sexy, because like, it's so boring to talk about like debt. Nobody wants a debt calculator. They want a calculate your early retirement date. They want that. They want this end goal. They want the debt-free life. They want the budget-free life. They want the I have so much savings that I don't know what to do with. Like that kind of thing. So by saying like just debt payoff calendar, That's not sexy. That's not fun. So if you're having a problem with your Tripwire, after you've made sure that it is the next step up from your freebie, after you've made sure that your page itself looks different than your freebie, that's when I would go in and actually work on changing the name itself, changing the vibe of the page. But again, there's just like so many different factors when it comes to tripwires and pages in general. But those are my top three, kind of like, if your tripwire page is not converting, that would be what I would do. Obviously, like checking the tech side of things to make sure that people are actually seeing it. But after all of that, those would be the next three things. Okay, guys. Thank you all so much for being here. I love you all. Have an amazing rest of your day, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.